Alrighty, I think we are good to go. So, good evening, everyone. It is about 6 p.m. here, Central Time. My name is Elvin, also known as Epoxy, and today we are going to be shoutcasting the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks A team, Overwatch team, as they take on Stevens Institute of Technology. Howe? So, we are now facing ourselves in the final week of the Tespa League. For the National League, Week 5 here is going to be the last match of going to be played out between these two teams. And so today's map rotation, we have point 1 in Eichenwald, point 2 will be Lee Jane Tower, and final point will be Route 66. So taking a quick look at how our Hawks are doing, we can check out taking a look at the Overwatch A roster. Right now the Hawks are faced in the National League with a 5-1 win losses, and in the Regional League 3-1. So doing pretty well with Week 1, having victories against the Valparaiso and Western Iowa Tech, falling against University of Northern Iowa in the regional match. Week 2, all forfeit wins, unfortunately, but in favor for the Hawks. And then Week 3, a tough match against the University of Central Florida, but then pulling out a victory in the regional match against the Huskies Gold. And then most recently in Week 4, we found the Hawks facing against Southern New Hampshire University with a convincing 2-0, and then pulling out with a 2-1 victory against University of Minnesota Twin Cities, the Boynton Health team, doing a 2-1, only falling in the assault map at Anubis. So taking a quick look at our A team, we have Matthew DeGumbis Gambar, Ryan Alchemisto Lusk, and Isaac Shockwave Q Vongfit as our tanks, Ethan Fox, Kevin Corey, and Sean Finnegan as our DPS, and then William Moat Q Purification as one of the healers, all led by Milton Homedic Parr as Illinois Tech Overwatch's A team's captain. Jacob Cordova Hoovy as their sub, but these 9 players are led by 2 coaches here, Pavan Kurisisla and Asim Zinhaider. Taking a quick look at Ethan, he is a second-year mechanical engineering, co-directing Illinois Tech Esports, involved in Greek life, from St. Charles, Illinois. Fun fact is that he is a Denial Doomfist one-trick. Ryan Lusk Alchemisto, a third-year chemical engineering student from Chicago, Illinois. Isaac Vongfit Shockwave Q from Collierville, Tennessee, studying electrical engineering. Just buy me some bubble tea and I'll pop off as his fun fact. Matthew Gombar de Gumby's first-year undecided engineering, playing for IIT men's soccer team as well, from Elburn, Illinois. Be sure to follow him on his Twitch. Kevin Corey from Batesville, Indiana, starting architecture, one of Illinois Tech's star Genji players. Milton Parr, home medic, a third-year computer science major from Chicago, Illinois, captaining now for his second year, I believe, now for the team. Fun fact is, stay cool. William Purification Moat Q, a third year from the Philippines, studying computer science. Fun fact is that he dislikes Doomfist one-tricks. Sean Finnegan McFly, a third-year electrical engineer from Berwyn, Illinois, starting Overwatch actually on the console on Xbox One before he transitioned over to Overwatch on the PC as his first-person shooter that he actually made that transition to. And last but not least, we've got General Hoovy as Illinois Tech sub, first-year computer science major. Nothing else to really report on there. So I think that will do it for our athlete roster. So jumping over now to our spectate screen. Again, this will be Illinois Tech against the Stevens Institute of Technology. Howe? I don't know what their mascot is. I want to look it up. It looks like another eagle. Their mascot is Attila the Duck. Alright, so the Hawks versus the Ducks is what we've got going on today. Um, so both teams evenly matched with 5 wins under their belt here in the National League. So this game will be especially important to see if they can get their stats padded just a bit to see if they can make the cut to get within the Overwatch Collegiate Championship out of the group stage. Um, for these teams, there are 2 options essentially to get them on the board. They have the Regional League, where they have to face all of the teams in a single elimination style bracket. So their performance in the Regional League matches will be determining their seeding. But also looking at the National League, it will be important for these teams to have the best performance that they can do, as only the top 28 seeds that within the leadership boards can make it. So I believe currently on the Tespa website, Illinois Tech is ranked around 80th place. Getting this win will almost certainly be able to get them likely within the top 50s or 60s likely, which can make the cut for them for National League. So we're going to have to keep ourselves watching for that. Looking like both teams are throwing out the ready checks, so we're going to be getting into the game shortly. Looks like our coordination of where these teams are placed on the stream overlay is good as well. So going to be an exciting match to see how these teams perform, but we're going to get ourselves into the game shortly. So map 1 here is going to be Eichenwald. This map is a hybrid style where it combines both a first point being used as essentially a control point in order to capture the escort to be used in then an escort payload to bring it all the way to its end destination. So thankfully Stevens Institute of Technology allowing us to use a third-person spectate, so we definitely give them some thanks for that. Illinois Tech looking like they will be defending on the first point. Stevens will be on the offensive in the meanwhile. So taking a quick look at Illinois Tech's comp, we're looking like a GOATS comp with 3 tanks, the Reinhardt, D.Va, and Zarya, and the 3 healers with the Brigitte, Zenyatta, and Lucio. So Stevens making their first approach with a similar comp as well on their side, so an even 6v6 going through their first point to get the approach in. The Brigitte for IIT getting pretty low, but as they have to set themselves up here for the first point, getting a good pink on Stevens' Brigitte. D.Va getting really low, about to get out of her mech. A nice return from IIT, getting some decent clears to get 3 members of Stevens down as they push themselves right back up to the spawn. Gumby's doing really good work here as he is almost completed with his ult, with the Earth Shatter already at the ready. Stevens Institute instead looping itself around, putting a nice Earth Shatter, getting 4 or 5 members at least of Stevens Institute down, pushing down 3 members, getting the D.Va out of the mech. A nice pin from the Reinhardt will find Lucio's back to the wall crushed, and IIT remains their hold, able to spend their ult economy wisely with just the Reinhardt Earth Shatter to be able to take Stevens down. Zarya prepared with her ult as well. Going to be trying to see what Stevens can pull out. So both sides with an enemy D.Va to possibly tank that Zarya ult. Going to be trying to see if we're going to be able to have those Brigitte for IIT going to be pushing out her ult, as the Zarya ult going to be combined with the D.Va ult will find the enemy Zarya. Enemy Zen going to be using his Transcendence to try to heal members of Stevens up, but looks like IIT is able to continue pushing on their offensive defense here as they again push Stevens all the way back to the point. Fox doing what he can all the way up at the front lines. We're going to be taken really low with the Discord bubble from the Stevens, pushing them really far up. The Earthshatter being used preemptively to try to get whatever members that they can, but Reinhardt will finally fall down, and IIT members are going to be having to force to retreat with 2 members down. Stevens also 2 members down. Taking a quick breath here, both sides just seem to be exchanging a couple of blows here with a couple of Zen orbs. The enemy Reinhardt for Stevens will be approaching the point faster. Gumby's already back at the point though. The enemy Zarya's going to be finding a couple members of IIT, but seems that they don't have the DPS to crash through. A nice Earthshadow will get 3 members, but the Transcendence unfortunately unable to heal up the members of IIT, and we're looking at likely IIT going to be having to concede this point as the Zarya falls down, as the Diva's about to fall down. Zen being the last one on the point, going to be finally battered by Reinhardt's hammer, and Stevens with a nice return as they're able to get that 3-man ultimate off despite Moat Q's Transcendence, and a nice Earth Shatter there to keep IIT members at bay, giving about 3.5 minutes now for the Hawks to try to see if they can hold the Ducks at bay. And as we've mentioned before, as we are in this hybrid mode, we are now facing an escort style kind of mission now as the team has to go. But Stevens electing to go for a Winston ult. For a Winston as the hero for them. The Diva ult not landing on any members here for IIT, but we're going to be facing a little bit of a Diva-Diva matchup as she's able to zoom back out safely. Two members of Stevens Institute down, and definitely a little bit of overextension that we saw earlier in the first point from Fox getting the discorded Zen orb on him. So going to be trying to important to see what they can do. Surprisingly, Stevens not going for a Reinhardt here in this push, but Earthshatter being available on the Reinhardt, going to be using it, trying to see what members he can last. Another ult from the Diva, only going to be landing on Fox, getting a nice pin on the Brigitte. Gumby swinging away at his hammer, trying to see whatever members he can do. The tank's doing really good work here for IIT as they're able to get a full clear. Diva finally coming in. A quick clear on her will let Stevens reset themselves fairly quickly. So we saw Gumby's having to use his Earthshatter there. Already having, in the meanwhile, though, already having it available fairly quickly as he's going to be having that ready. Winston with his ult going to be important to see if he's going to have any access to the backline. Earthshatter ready on Gumby's here. A nice Earthshatter will land 3 members despite despite Invertigo's Transcendence. The ultimate from the Diva going to be capturing the enemy Lucio, putting Stevens a healer down. Reinhardt going all the way deep in to get any members, getting the Zarya with the Earthshatter, getting the Diva. Another well-played team clear, and as we're already seeing, Gumby's with his ult again. Really good plays here from IIT as they're able to maintain their hold here. A minute left remaining here for Stevens to see what they can do here. King Gultimate, one of Stevens Institute's going to be getting out of the Winston, getting a nice shatter onto the Reinhardt, but not going to be enough to take him down. A decent amount of higher energy, but the Zarya ultimate going to be used for IIT to see what she can do. Getting the members really low here as Diva's able to dive herself right into the backline, forcing herself to be isolated outside the mech. At this point, just wasting their time, just playing with their food. Another clear here in the advantage here for IIT. 30 seconds left on the point with no Transcendence available on Invertigo leaves IIT going to be trying to see as long as they can play themselves safely here. Zarya here going to be pushing herself up to the front. Gumby's again with another Earthshatter ready. The Shatter not going to be capturing, but the Diva ultimate not going to be capturing itself, and a lot of ult economy really low on IIT as it's able to actually capture the Zarya. It looks like Stevens is able to kind of hold themselves off. The Lucio ult preemptively being used, but going to be captured by the enemy Zarya. Going to be putting the IIT's members really low, and we're looking at a team clear as they're forced themselves to retreat here. So as we're facing overtime, IIT members going to have to try to see if they can get the members off, try to force a C9 potential solution, but no ults available. And as IIT is going to be having to face the bridge, they're going to be able to likely be pinned by Stevens Institute's Steven's tank here, as we try to see what they can do to get the members offline. Facing themselves with a couple points, getting 3 members of IIT down, but DeLucio hopping himself around, trying to take on the enemy Zarya. The Transcendence going to be used for a little bit of sustain here, but the members of IIT don't seem to be coordinated in this last push, as they're able to just continue themselves to be on this point, knocking out that D.Va, keeping themselves with overtime and gaining a minute and a half. A disappointing play, to say the least, to see that IIT, even with their ults, were unable to capitalize on it here at that earlier point back at the first bend. But we're taking now ourselves with a minute here to spare for Stevens Institute, as they're going to have to try to get themselves the Earth Shatter, not looking like it's going to connect, but the enemy Zarya will be capturing 3 members. The D.Va ult going to be barely just holding it, but we'll capture 4 members of IIT, and they're going to have to give Stevens free access here around his corner. Zenyatta doing his best to just slowly push up the point as IIT members slowly trickle themselves in. The ult available onto the D.Va. Going to be important to see if she can isolate the members of Stevens here. Not too much can be seen yet, but IIT starting to get themselves a couple of picks here. A lot of higher energy being used on Zarya, pushing all of the members of them out. IIT successfully getting themselves all the way out. The enemy D.Va going to be forcing herself all the way out there. A really good clear, as we're looking at 20 seconds. Going to be important to see, will Bladed Banana be looking at a possible zoning ult to hold the members at bay? Going to be important to keep ourselves in check of that. Enemy Zarya without her ult, looks like Bladed Banana, it might be preparing for it. A nice grab going to be possibly, but with the Lucio ult, going to be getting 4 members of them down. Well played from IIT as they hold on. So, decent play from IIT here for the last point. They finally get their ults to work in tandem. Seems like a little bit of a mishap there for that first escort part, as IIT was pushing Stevens to the overtime. The Reinhardt Shatter for Gumby's not connecting there. The D.Va ult not getting any kills, and with those 2 ult economies, Steven pushed their advantage immediately and were able to get themselves past that first escort point. So, with that, I believe that's technically like 2 points captured. You had the capture point there, and then the first gate. So that'll be 2 points. IIT here will need it in order to succeed to win. We'll need to at least get that payload past that point. Going to be interested to see if IIT is going to be running that GOATS comp again. But as we do a quick change over here to get the icons in the right place. IIT will be on the offense. Stevens will be now on the defense. Alright, good to go. Yep, and as we've confirmed, yep, Stevens here with 2 points captured, 52 meters to go. IIT looking like they're going to be doing a GOATS again. Same here on Stevens' side as well. So going to be important for IIT to be sure if they can establish themselves past here. Hopefully not get any members picked off quickly enough. So IIT starting to get themselves across through the point, bashing his way around the Earth Shatter. The Fire Strike not going to be connecting, but as IIT starts to loot themselves around, isolating the Reinhardt very low, getting a nice melee on from the D.Va to be able to get Stevens' first tank down and starting to isolate the members, doing really good work here for IIT as they're trying to split the members of Stevens as far as possible. The Moat Q going in for the 1v1 against the D.Va, but just going to be enough. Getting a full clear, getting the stun. Looking like IIT's able to hold out here. With a quick capture here. Lucio going a little bit too ham there, but give it a mercy kill over. Let's just call it that. Bladed Banana on this D.Va. Going to see if he's going to be able to build up that ult charge quickly enough. Just laying whatever damage that she can, but pushing Stevens past his point is really working in IIT's favor, as this first spend is particularly important, but Stevens looking like they're not content with that, pushing back a little bit, but the members of Stevens Institute finally getting themselves established past this first spend, getting 2 members of IIT finally being able to pay themselves back in kind. The ultimate charge going to be available for Shockwave Q as he's taken really low with a lot of nicely placed damage from Stevens Institute there. Zarya going to be coming around of the bend there with a 76 high energy, looking pretty dangerous, but going to be trying to see if she's going to be able to get anything done. The nice grab there will be capturing all members of Stevens, but the Zenyatta ultimate will keeping them at bay. Stevens ult from the D.Va not going to be landing as they're kind of shepherding the Gumbies alone here, and it looks like Stevens will be able to keep it themselves together with a very nice ult being placed by Angular there. So looking like a little bit of a switch up from the healers, if I'm not mistaken. We saw in Vertigo last time from Stevens was actually the one on the healing, but Shockwave instead, you know, pushing himself really out there in the front. Unfortunately, going to be picked up with that picked off with that high energy. Shields being really low here on IIT's side is going to try to get themselves accrued. Both Brigidas using their ults to try to establish themselves. IIT kind of being choked off here at this first point. Gonna see if they can get any picks out. Fox pushing himself pretty close up to the front. Gumby's shield not gonna be holding out too long, but a shatter there will only land a couple members of IIT. But the Zarya ult not gonna be capturing any members of IIT. But the ult from Stevens Institute Tech gonna be capturing a lot of members. Zarya getting herself 4 kills there. Well played from Stevens as they continue to establish a really good hold there. IIT, meanwhile, going to be trying to see what they can do here to get themselves established, but Gumby's doesn't seem... I'm not sure if Ghost is going to be the answer, but a nice Transcendence from Angular again going to be holding them at bay, but is it going to be enough with the D.Va ult in mind? Not going to be able to capture them, but getting the D.Va really low, but with top of Lucio's ult, it's going to be just too much healing for them to get through. Lucio's ult for IIT coming through, trying to get the members down. Gumby's, the enemy ult from Stevens, not going to be enough, but the enemy Zarya will be able to actually get all members of IIT as we're just going pell-mell here. A nice team kill there for Stevens Institute as they are not having the solution, unfortunately, for the Lucio and the Zen ult to combat all of that damage and healing done on their side. Gumby's meanwhile trying to build up his ult charge, whatever he can do again, taking itself pretty close with about 15% left to the charge, but he's pretty low. Stevens looking like they're going to try to look for the burst. Enemy Lucio, though, for Stevens going to be down. A nice shatter going to be capturing the Zarya, going to be capturing the Reinhardt in it, going to be taking her down. The enemy D.Va trying to see what she can get, but before she's able to get in her mech, going to be eliminated. And IIT, unfortunately, the enemy Reinhardt able to deflect it with the D.Va ult's going to be getting a lot of members of IIT down and a lot of wasted ults here. IIT here now going to have to be forcing themselves to rethink their strategy, I think. But looking like the Ana going to be coming out actually now for Home Medic as he's going to be going on for a comfort pick. Could be potentially really useful if they're going to be able to get some nasty nano nades. I could see it. The nade going to be used finally, but Ana going to be taken down low. She's hunted down by the enemy Zarya, but she's going to be falling out of her mech. Enemy D.Va just about to fall out of mech. IIT members trying to push whatever advantages that they can, taking down the enemy Zarya finally. Looks like they're able to get themselves established past this point, and it looks like they have finally found their rhythm. Pushing members of IIT out one by one. Zen falling. A minute left here, and we're looking at almost kind of like a deja vu of what we saw earlier against Stevens. Earlier with the overtime having to push themselves, force themselves across the point, but keeping ourselves in mind. King's ultimate with on Stevens Reinhardt here with his ult available, going to be trying to see if he can get anything done. The ultimate going to be landing 3 members and forcing IIT back as the D.Va is going to be out of her mech, going to be instantly eliminated. 40 seconds left on the Hawks as Moat Q is going to be falling down too. IIT going to have 38 seconds left to get onto the point here. Going to have to see. This allows really little to no room for error. D.Va going to be scouting IIT out. 30 seconds left on the clock, going to be forcing it out, but King ultimate without his ult is going to be important information for IIT as IIT has 2 ults available. MoQ not here for any ultimate here of his own yet. Doesn't look like he'll need it as he's able to keep himself out, but here we see Q with his ult, keeping IIT members healthy. Lucio ult going to be used. Diva ult gonna be pinned down, but she's gonna fall down. The ultimate from Angular gonna be holding them back, but Kevin bladed bananas. Diva ult still going to be available. Brigitte gonna be trying to do what she can to wail away. A nice little ult there, gonna be capturing no members of them, but IIT here gonna have to, it's looking like they might have to be conceding this point as they're unable to keep themselves alive enough to land on the point, unfortunately here. And we're looking at the clear here as Stevens maintains their hold here against the Hawks. So Ducks coming out ahead with a 2-1 victory here on Eichenwald. Yeah, IIT struggling to find their rhythm here against this, wasting a lot of time past this first bend. Really well plays from Siemens Institute into Endo. As we're looking at the 2-1 victory. So taking ourselves really quick to the match lobby. A 2-1 victory there, with Stevens now leading 1-0 against the Hawks. So we're going to be taking to Lee Jane Tower next, and the control point, going to be trying to see what the Hawks can do to respond to their GOATS comp. Well played on both sides for sure. We definitely saw a lot of ults being used for those crucial plays. Enemy Stevens Zenyatta is going to be doing a lot of good work for two saving ultimates going to against IIT's offensive comp. Shockwave Q saying that he isn't in the roster. Not too sure about where that information is coming from. As we're taking ourselves back to the spectate screen. Looking like both teams are figuring themselves out as they're taking the short break, so we'll go on break ourselves as well. When we come back, we'll be going into map 2 of 3 as the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks continue their matchup against Stevens Institute 0-1. Alright, everybody, welcome back as we are getting now into ourselves into Game 2 of the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks against the Stevens Institute of Technology. What how? I don't know if that's some sort of inside joke between the team, but keeping ourselves in mind, the Hawks here facing a tough first map loss here in Eichenwald as they were unable to get their payload across to the first point. Stevens Institute giving IIT a particularly rough time around that first bend. But as we're looking ourselves into the control point, going to be trying to see how IIT performs here on this type of map style. Looking like both sides are still continuing to go through goats. I'm not super familiar with in terms of how what's the metas and whatnot too much for these kind of games, as I only play Overwatch recreationally. But interestingly enough, we're going to be actually seeing Fox on the Mei coming out, and that could be really nice for especially on this map, as a lot of these points are have these really choked access points, as Mei going to be isolating herself with a ice wall not being used yet, finally going to be used now, trying to cut off the members of Stevens, but not looking like it's going to connect. So we're going to keep an eye on her to see what she can do. Gumby's here in the meanwhile going to be taken really low, getting a pinned but falling down before, but they get a nice isolation onto the Diva as we're looking at the first contest point. Stevens pushing IIT all the way back as they are able to capture here on the first point. The nice shatter capturing both Shockwave and Fox as they both fall down, pushing IIT all the way back here to the spawn. A high energy Zarya from Stevens is going to melt that Reinhardt shield with the Reinhardt Zarya on top, gonna likely eliminate all members of them. The wall gonna be throwing them off just a bit, but doesn't look like they'll have the damage to take them down, unfortunately. IIT here now going to have to kind of reposition themselves, regroup, as we're looking at about 26% of the point already being captured. IIT Zarya, meanwhile, looking like she's got a decent amount of high energy, but the Mei wall going to be throwing them off. A nice Ana nade could be getting the members that they need. Earth Shatter from the Reinhardt going to be getting it down, though, unfortunately, and Stevens still looking really strong with this defense, despite the positioning that they're trying to do here. Ana going to be taken down too, as she's going to leave IIT staggered. Stevens doing a very good job here on this first control hold. The enemy Zarya going to be capturing a decent amount of members. A nice nade will prevent the healing on Angular's Transcendence, plus the freeze will be getting the Zarya in a very nice play here from IIT, but they're spending a lot of ultras. Lucio, meanwhile, going to be trying to delay it as much time as possible. Getting himself really low, going to be falling down eventually, but the Lucio v Lucio is always entertaining enough to watch on its own, and IIT finally being able to find their first capture here, but going to be important to see if they can hold it. Stevens doing a good job here with that on their first control point, at least repelling two pushes there from IIT. The ult from Reinhardt not going to connect. Taken really low on Reinhardt's shield with only about 150, trying to do the pin, but going to be cut off. No healers available, not a lot of damage present here for IIT yet, as Stevens is doing their work. A nice nade there, going to be helping out a little bit, but members of IIT going to be pushed all the way back out to the point. We're kind of taking IIT with not much room for error. The ult from Zarya going to be doing some damage, but that's a healthy Reinhardt shield to get it through. The ultimate from Reinhardt not going to be getting members at IIT with 5%. They're going to have to force themselves onto the point as fast as possible. 3% left. Gumby's going to be the first one onto the point, trying to do what he can as we're taking into overtime. The Earth Shatter not going to be able to use. IIT members trying to get themselves whatever that they can, but doesn't look like they'll be able to do it. Stevens with another well-played control point here as they're able to take the victory here. Good stuff coming now from the Ducks as they're able to continue counter, as they seem to have the better GOATS comp. As I think as we've been able to determine that, so IIT now going to have to ask themselves, can they combat goats v goats? And I think that answer is going to be no, as we are seeing a couple of team composition changes with Fox on the Pharah, with Bladed Banana on the Genji. IIT's backs to the walls, looking like we're going for the one comfort to the comfort picks of what these guys are ready to play with. IIT in a must-win situation now if they hope to continue their nationals run here in Tespa. Pharah going to be coming out here first. Only members really going to be able to contest will be the Zenyatta for Stevens Institute. Pharah here going to be circling back around, trying to see what damage that she can get. Isolating Stevens decently here, but she's going to be trying to do what she can. Stevens here going to be having to get themselves to the point, acclimated first, looking like they're able to do a good capture, but this split from IIT doesn't seem to be really doing any favors yet, as it leaves IIT isolated, trying to do whatever damage. But Fox going to be finally able to land some damage here, is here able to get the Lucio down, but the Brigitte going to be in the meanwhile holding IIT members at bay. Enemy Zarya there with a lot of high energy. Can be kept out of range from that beam, but it's going to be important to see if IIT is going to be able to contest. IIT, meanwhile, the rest of the line is going to try to see what they can do to get themselves into the point. Not really getting a lot of damage, but a nice Earth Shatter there will get 2 members on 3 members of IIT down, getting a really nice clear there. IIT going to be pushing their advantage here as far as they can go, getting a nice team kill here. And IIT looks like they found their rhythm here with this new composition change, finally able to contest against the goats. But here Stevens going to look like they're going to continue on with their goats here, with 2 ultimates available on the Reinhardt, on the Zarya. Going to be important if IIT pushes themselves too far. They could be captured, looking like it's going to be Transcendence going to be used, not going to be helping out too much if here for IIT. With the Lucio ult, going to be keeping them healthy for Stevens. The ultimate here for Mercy, going to try to what she can do here as the facing against the enemy Reinhardt. Good healing from Moat Q, going to be keeping the Gumbies healthy, but too many members of Stevens is going to finally take her down. Gumbies being the last member standing finally falls here, and Stevens is quick to retake the point with about equally about the same amount of time actually. But as we're keeping our eyes on the screen here, Shockwave Q without an ult here, as they had been training it earlier, and also his ult's recharging a lot slower. So looking at the Zarya v Zarya, but the Gumby's Shatter will only land on the Zarya, but they're unable to take it out. IIT not with the damage available. Fox trying to do what he can, but he's left alone to his own defenses, unfortunately. Not really needing the members there, trying to see what they can, whatever harass that they can provide, but doesn't look like they're able to connect the shots. The nice pick there on the Zen, it's going to be keeping them at bay. A full ultimate going to be used to try to see what they can do. Gumby's going to be able to, unfortunately, falling here against the enemy Diva. A really high energy Zarya getting herself onto the point against a respectively high energy Zarya from Stevens Institute. She's going to be taken really low. Looks like IIT is going to be able to push themselves with two kills here down, falling. Just the Lucio remaining. Diva going to be falling herself outside of the mech. Going to try to see what they can do to get the... trying to see what they can do to capture the point, as we're taking into overtime here, so it's going to be important to see how they can hold. IIT now on the defensive side, as they are going to be forced to try to see what they can do, but ult advantage here for Shockwave Q, as Legendary on Zarya will not have his available. Going to be important for IIT members to not be picked. Pharah doing a decent amount of damage, holding the rockets out. Could this be an ult, but you straight up in front of the enemy, going to actually getting all members down. And the Transcendence from Angular going to be holding it down. Really well played there from Fox, as he's going to be pushing himself to the limit there, but a lot of ults wasted there for Zarya and for Fox, for Shockwave and Fox. Going to be get that knowledge going to be known here for the Ducks here, as they try to get themselves past. Both members trying to see what they can get. The a nice knock, going to be getting the Lucio down. She's going to be taken really low, but no Flight is going to be taking him really low. The Flight coming in just in time, doing a really good job of holding IIT on the point. Well played here for Fox here with a really nice play to continue their streak here. And we're taking the Moira not being able to touch the point, and IIT does a very nice hold, looking like they're able to finally find a solution for the GOAT's composition. Ooh. And so one of the interesting things about control points that it's impossible to draw. So regardless, we're going to be taking to game 3 no matter what. If IIT wins. Looking like IIT's ready to do that, but looking like Stevens is not ready to contest their GOATs, and they are going for their own compositional change with Nisei Panda on the McCree. Not too many tanks available except for the Hammond. Looking like the Sombra's being busted out, interestingly enough. But looking like Mercy Farah versus Mercy Farah is going to find the first kill here for IIT as she's able to concussion blast itself off, but she jumps right into the Farah rocket. The Discord going to be used on MoQ as they're trying to get their healers down first, leaving IIT's members isolated. Going to be important to see what they can do for coverage, but IIT setting themselves, establishing on the point. Hammond going to be getting a nice knock up there, getting the knockdown onto the Anna, but Mercy with a quick res to keep IIT's healers ready. Hammond going to try to see what he can do. The charge from Gumby's not going to connect. Going to be important to see that IIT can hold themselves here as they are able to get themselves a first point here. So as we're finally taking ourselves out of the Goats v Goats, looking like the Hammond going to try to see whatever he can do to keep them at bay, but a lot of IIT members falling. Doesn't look too good. Bladed Banana with a nice boop on the Zenyatta, keeping 4 members, I believe now. Only 3 members now of IIT alive, as Shockwave is going to be taken very low here. High Energy not going to be able to get the Zarya down just enough. And finally able to fall here, but you're going to be finally taken down by the Hammond as Stevens looks to reclaim the point here. 32% only available for IIT. Ooh, the McCree landing a couple of shots now, finally taking a quick look at him as I wanted to see how good is he. Landing 1 out of 6 shots. Okay, maybe not as good. Oh, take it back. 2, 1. But IIT, no, keeping themselves in mind as they are looping themselves around. Gumby's now on the Winston. Like I approve of that pick as they're able to finally, as Winston's not really good against Goats, but he is great against backline, like trying to get the McCree. The McCree, though, going for a dive all the way in against the Diva is actually going to end up winning that. But IIT members, it's really hard to see who's going to be coming out ahead of this fight. Diva going to be taken out of her mech. She's trying to see what she can do as they're going for the 1v1 on the healer. Is going to be taken really low, getting down that. Hammond being the only one remaining onto the point, getting the Mercy out as Hammond's going to be annoying as usual. But it's going to be serving them in the doing their job as he's only able to finally fall down. Shockwave Q back on his mech. IIT able to capture the point back as they're starting to isolate the members of Stevens. So we're going to continue to delay the timer here for them. A good quick take back them lets them keep themselves alive for the next fight. A nice rocket there. 2 rockets landing from Fox here as he's able to land some really nice damage. But Mercy going to do a quick res to keep Legendary alive into the game. Going to be important to see how the Ducks are going to be able to respond, and looking like they're looping themselves out from the left side. IIT members, though, are they ready to catch that out? The McCree here and Ash going to be 2 sharpshooters capturing them, and Bob going to finally be placed down here with the Hammond ult going to be keeping them at bay, but Mercy doing what she can to keep herself alive, looking like they are going to have to keep just at this point waste as much time as possible. Winston with his Primal Rage trying to do what he can to just continue to delay the members, but he will finally fall, and we're looking at about 85% here captured for the Hawks. Still anyone's game at this point. The McCree ult going to be used? Oh, and I think that might have been a misplay. That is a big rip. I hope that wasn't intentional. But meanwhile, IIT here going to try to start establishing themselves back onto the point. The Concussion Blast not going to be knocking any member. Shockwave Q going to be taking dangerous low. She's forced outside of her mech. Not going to Baby Diva form. Not going to be doing anything here, but Farah ult going to be doing some decent damage here as IIT members, most of them are down. But what is this? Okay, so Lucio going to be taken all the way out here, looking like he's going to die eventually. Yep, so unfortunately though, this might be too little too late for them. Bladed Banana, Shockwave trying to see what he can do in the last point, forcing out the ult to try to see what he can do, but it's not going to be enough to get them as we're taking to another overtime though. But too much defense on IIT as they're trying to scramble themselves onto the point. At this point, any member can count, but it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough, and Stevens is going to be able to win here with a 2-1 victory onto the control point. GG, well played here to the Ducks. It's going to be the point 2, the first point here in Lijiang, yeah, with this like balls to the wall ult. Look at this. You're practically taking the damage from it. But really, thankfully, the healing there gonna able to help himself out a little bit. Yeah, very well played there. But unfortunately for the Hawks, this will be doing it for them as we are looking at the 2-1 victory here for them. Yeah, I mean, we saw it happen on both sides. It was just a lot of fighting all over around. Really really good matches, I think, in terms of both teams. The GOATs comp seeming to be more, IIT seeming to be more adaptive to, Stevens being more adaptive to that, ready to face that. But as we kind of saw in Lijiang, IIT finally saying, you know what, let's just play to what we know, and we saw them capture that point 1 well enough. Excuse me, the second control point in Lijiang Tower well enough with the change up and forcing Stevens to kind of change their roster to outside of the GOATs comp. But in the end, especially a couple of those takeoffs as they were trying to remain control for that last third point on Lijiang, it seems like Stevens was able to come out on top. But that'll do it for us today for this casting. You know, this unfortunately isn't a stream, it's a recording for a VOD per Tespa rules, as this conflicts with the Overwatch League time. But we'll be sure to do our best to continue our coverage of the Hawks as they are now going to be looking, finishing up the National League with a 5-2 record. I'm not too certain if that's going to be enough to keep them within the top bracket to have them being considered for the top 28 for the National League, but we can only hope, as they will have their only other play-in option being available through the Regional League in the next end of February. So next up later today, we're going to be doing a recording around 7:30 for the Hawks in their regional match against NIU. So another Illinois versus Illinois matchup as they take on the NIU Huskies, but we'll be tuning into that in the second VOD. So that'll do it for us today. Be sure to follow IIT Esports at IIT Esports on Twitch, IIT Esports on Facebook, Illinois Tech Esports on Discord to continue to keep up to date with us. And that'll do it for us today. This is Elvin Moy, signing off.